into oppressing or passing oppressive laws.
We all know that majority have their way and the minority have their say. Of course, the affordable housing bill is supposed to go to Senate. What then happens if your counterparts at the Senate emulate what happened at the National Assembly? What's the end game, considering walking out may seem an exercise in futility?
Actually, what's happening there is an exercise in futility, and they will decide what they should do, because again, at the Senate, there are no numbers. And these people will tell you that, okay, majority will have their way, minority will have their say. There is always a minority report that will be captured in the Hansard. So, our ideas will always be captured, no matter how unpopular in the eyes of those other many MPs from the Kenya Kwanza, no matter how unpopular in their eyes, not in the eyes of the citizens. In the eyes of the citizens, our ideas are very popular. Right now, there's a big problem. Whenever the president walks in any part of this country, is booed. Even if another MP is being booed and is there, it is a signal, he's being signaled as the people disrespect him, because he doesn't respect what people should be having. That which they should be having. He doesn't respect that. So people are disrespecting him everywhere. And he should stop walking. I don't know why campaign when there's a state house there, you're even renovating with billions, and then you don't want to sit there, you want to walk around, I don't know like what, walking around. You need to sit down and work as the president. At what time do you get reports from the principal secretaries, from the cabinet secretaries, from different organs and departments of this government? At what point will you be briefed? At what point are you working? When you keep on walking. So you are walking, not working. Remember Kibaki sat in the office. People could even ask, where is the president? Yeah. But he was working. Now we can see the fruits of what he did.
And we miss him.
And we miss him very much, by the way. But here we have a president who is looking for validation, legitimacy, okay, from people. He's already there. Serve. It doesn't matter how you got there. Serve the people. But you can't serve the people by walking around and you don't know what is happening. And number two, receiving wrong advice. Those people that he has put there as economic advisors, those people know nothing. There is no economics they know. So, president should sit down and work, not walk.
Earlier this year, you did say that President William Ruto should sit down, since he already has power, and take charge of the nation and let not citizens suffer because he wants to please other super countries. What did you mean by this?
I'm so disappointed at Ruto. You know, me, I thought this man was a very serious man. Even when we were campaigning, the way he was talking, because as an opponent, we had to go through some of the manifesto and the policies that he wanted to implement. Yeah. But they sounded so nice, so sugary, okay, so flattery. But right now what is happening, I'm so disappointed. He's a person who was brought up from a very humble background, a person who was a hustler. Right now is a dynasty, okay? Right now, the president is not fighting anything. There's a lot happening in State House, in the country, and I'm just disappointed at Ruto. IMF is not interested in us repaying their money. Otherwise, if they were interested, what would they do? They would say, we want you people to industrialize, we want you people to grow, we want to encourage local consumption of goods so that you can get money, you repay us. But instead they are saying you have to increase central bank rates. If you increase central bank rates in economics, what are you doing, my dear? Because people borrow from the commercial banks. If you increase these interest rates, two things will happen. Number one, industries will close down, businesses will close down, because people will not take loans that are expensive. Once they take loans that are expensive to repay, then they will be forced to close down because they will have nothing. Number two, the goods produced from these expensive loans taken, that value will be factored in these goods. Therefore, the prices of goods will go up. Locally produced goods will go up. Therefore, we will start looking at the West and the imports. Are you getting the secret here? So the moment you look at the imports and forget the locally, the domestically produced goods, then it means that those imports, we are encouraging what we call the foreign absorption or absorption on imports, which is too wrong. There was a time Mexico was in serious debt crisis. How did they get out of this? By curing absorption. Because so many Americans had companies in Mexico. Okay? Then these companies were making money, then taking back to America. So there were leakages into other economies, into the economy of America, and Mexico was not getting anything. Then what did they decide to do? They decided to increase the tax for those companies. Okay? Which we are not doing here successfully. Because those multinational companies, we should increase taxes for them if we want to encourage our domestic growth. Then we need to increase for them, we discourage them as we promote our local companies. For example, we have Absa Bank, based in South Africa. Yes, it provides jobs here. But in a year, they are making over 40 billion as a profit. All that 40 billion as a profit is not being used in Kenya. It goes back to South Africa. Therefore, why don't we overtax this 40 billion, okay, instead of increasing taxes for Kenyans here in terms of fuel, okay? So the moment we start reasoning like that, then a country will grow. But go back to colonization. Ask yourself, why were we colonized? Two main reasons. Number one, provision of raw materials to the industries in the colonizers, Britain, right? Provision of raw materials. Then we were selling them cheaply. They were getting them cheaply. Then they sell us the finished products expensively. The moment the export is little, you get little in export, and you receive more in import, you cannot grow. Why? Kenya depends on 80% of imported goods. And imagine that a toothpick we can't make. Imagine tissue papers, what we can't do. Everything we import, 80% including eggs, right? All that money from the imports goes back to all those countries which are out of Kenya. So that is what we call the import absorption. We need to encourage domestic absorption. So IMF is not interested in us paying these the loans, the debts. Why? Because they want to continue supplying us with goods, okay, as they get raw materials from us, okay, and they discourage our local production, because the moment there's serious local production, even if tax is increased and there's serious production internally, you will not complain because life is good. Okay?
Let's now talk about Azimio leader Raila Odinga's